I'm Dr. Brandy Cross of the Pot Lab, and I'm excited to bring you this video series based around the myths of cannabis and hemp, or should I say just cannabis, because hemp doesn't exist. And, well, cannabis doesn't even make THC. And that's the first myth we'll be getting into today. So to start out the series, we would love to get into this topic because it's the one that shocks people the most. I'm known for going around saying cannabis is a vegetable. That's because I know what is actually created in cannabis is both beneficial to health and it's not THC. At least not THC as you know it. Actually, cannabis plants or medical marijuana plants, those we call high THC plants, all have something in common. They make lots and lots of THCA. Well, what's THCA? We've heard of THC, we've studied THC. What's this THCA and why have we never heard of it, right? Easy. Technology. So in the past, we used to use a testing method for things called gas chromatography. And the problem with gas chromatography is just that, it's gas. So all of our samples had to be heated up to know what was in them. So if you can imagine, for cannabis plants, heating it up probably gave us heated constituents or degradatory products. Yeah, stuff that is created by degrading the actual plant material. But today we have a thing called HPLC. And what's that? Well, HPLC is called high pressure liquid chromatography. And the great thing about it is that it's high pressure liquid, so it doesn't destroy our sample with heat. And now you can actually call any testing lab in America or Canada and get information from them and ask them if they test for THCA. And they will know what you're talking about, hopefully so, because what they do on these reports when they test your flower is they convert all the THCA when using HPLC testing methods, they convert that to THC. So it's actually reported as the potential amount of THC. Are you catching on yet? THC is produced by a heat reaction that's beyond the plant. At one point, they thought that THC was actually made in the plant, but better testing methods have shown that that's actually a heated product. Furthermore, laboratory tests, very interesting. It's actually really hard to decarboxylate or remove the acid group from THC. What happens is the acid that's hanging out there is actually forming stability in the whole molecule. And it's only with degradation by UV light or heat that THCA becomes THC. Now, that's very interesting and all, but why would they tell us that? Again, you have to regulate this plant somehow. And the racism you were basing it on in the past, maybe in the 60s, is like not that popular. So then you have to base it on, a potentially toxic element, which we know THC even isn't a toxic thing. But fast forward to today, we have the technology, and honestly, a lot of the testing labs will tell you what they test for in these HPLC tests is THCA. And they'll also tell you that most cannabis plants that are dried in, at room temperature and not heated in their processing contain up to 99.9% THCA. In fact, that's very common that most of the THC, quote unquote, in your flower when you test it is still in the THCA phase, because even if you dry the flower, it doesn't cause the release of this group. And this acid group is, I'll be very, very clear, is a carboxylic acid group. So carboxylic acid groups change the whole function of a molecule. And those of us that took an organic chemistry class know that carboxylic acids are an actual separate chemical class from non-carboxylic acids, we'll say, or tricyclics. And there's all these little chemical classes that fundamentally distinguish one molecule from another. So with that classification, keep it in mind, this is the acid form, which is not regulated and frankly never has been, and only has been really looked at in the last 5 to 10 years. THCA has some potent medical qualities to it and applications. And here at the Pot Lab, we actually study what it does. So on the same line, now that we got you thinking about THCA and versus THC, let's talk about CBD, because a lot of people think that cannabis is high THC and hemp is high CBD. That's not true. First of all, cannabis is a family for all hemp, medical marijuana, whatever you want to call it. Pot, weed, it's all in the same family. Like, it's a very specific genus of plant, and both hemp and MMJ fit in this category by botanist standards via science, okay? The difference is there's different species and subspecies. This plant has been domesticated for thousands of years, possibly up to 20,000 years. So there's no difference at the genus level. At the species level, we can't even speciate it anymore. It's like speciating a house cat. American short hair, long hair, you know how they do that? This is what hemp and cannabis are. And I hate to use the word cannabis because that's including hemp. So let's talk about high CBD hemp. It's actually high CBD. You're right. Is that what you were thinking? You were exactly right. High CBD. Again, hemp does not create CBD. It doesn't. I'm sorry that the truth hurts. I'm sorry that people have bamboozled out there, but we really need to establish the difference between CBDA and CBD and THCA and THC. For both legal reasons, medical reasons, for scientific reasons, this needs to be done. So yes, your high CBD hemp is actually high CBDA. And when your manufacturer gets it, whoever makes your CBD oil, they grind it up and stir it in a hot pot. Or they toast the bud. That's what I call it. They toast it up. They get it hot and they process it. This means that both CBD, which is Schedule 2 or 3 now, and THC, which is Schedule 1, are both man-made. Which means regulating this plant is crap. I mean, you can make rules for people, but you can't make rules for a plant. Not only is it non-toxic, and that's a myth we'll get into later down the line in the series, but you're forming laws based on what humans do to this plant, not what this plant actually does. So I find that very interesting, and it's also interesting to read how the laws are written. Hemp is anything below 0.3% THC? Well, that's all the weed I've ever grown is under 0.3% THC. I don't know what you're talking about. It's very hard to get beyond 0.3% THC unless you have a hot-ass grow room, unless you're drying it under really hot conditions. If you're leaving it in the sun to dry it, those are 3 ways you can have high THC in your cannabis. Otherwise, you have high THCA, and you can test this. If you don't believe me, there's testing labs all over the nation. There's people doing research. Everyone will tell you, who's in the know, who understands the science of this, that this is, in fact, the facts about cannabis. And with that, I'm going to wrap this session up. Stay tuned for episode 2, where we're going to talk about all the differences between these 4 molecules and what they're useful for. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go to the website and donate, www.thepotlab.com, or pick up some of our hemp seed oil, plant-based botanicals for your face, or some of our really interesting research products, and join our research membership today.